Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Every once in a while, we have to bring out the big dog.
Yeah.
Oh, God help us. It's time for Danny Unleashed. Sponsored by Easton Roofing, where integrity matters. Go to eastonroofing.com for more.
And welcome back here on the program here on Sports Radio 810 WHP. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Wishing you the best and warmest wishes of the season here. If you're listening to us here on Christmas Eve, hope you're getting your shopping done, maybe wrapping some presents. I know if I've had one email, I've had 50 of people saying, you know what we love to do here at our house? We love to wrap gifts and listen to the program on Christmas Eve. And so thank you to the hordes that like to wrap and listen. More likely you're listening to a podcast after a fat meal on Christmas Day, and you
from DannyClinkscale.com. Yeah.
Oh, yes, DannyClinkscale.com or 810WHB.com. That's right.
How about me being an honorary Jew? The other day.
I don't even know where to go with that.
Pete, settle down.
The other day, people were, will send you congratulatory emails or through the year you've done business with them or whatever, and somebody... And I wasn't angry in any way, shape, or form or felt bad, but at the end, they wished me Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well,
I'm like, well, thanks. And really, you can wish me anything you want because I'm not really anything. But the person felt so, and somebody's going to feel really awful when they do something like that.
I don't think so.
But,
I don't think they should.
No, I don't think they should either, but they do.
I guess.
So anyway.
They made an effort.
It was funny. I was like, oh, well, good.
Well, Danny Clinkscale, of course, is with us. Non-denominational.
Right, you can wish me anything you want.
That's right. Wish him anything you want. Have a happy day, Danny.
Yes, exactly.
No. You can't wish him a happy day. That is an insult.
Yeah, that is. Brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, commercial and residential roofing, project manager on every site. Happy to do repairs. 4 straight years voted best of houses. Angie's List Super Service Award winner as well. You can check out their great reviews on Google. No payment collected until you're 100% satisfied. Credit cards and PayPal accepted. And this time of year, although it's unseasonably warm this time of year, but you might need more attic insulation or better attic ventilation. Did you know that Easton Roofing does attic insulation? They'll install it for you. Problem sides include a cold upstairs, ice dams forming in your gutters, lots of icicles hanging from your gutters. Let Easton Roofing do those repairs for you. Call Joe and his team at 913-257-5426 or look them up online at eastonroofing.com. Danny, first of all, welcome. And like I said, warm wishes to you.
For all the holidays, whichever one I feel like celebrating at a certain time.
If nothing else, celebrating days off for people out there.
I am indeed celebrating Christmas. My daughters are in town, and that should be great. Coming from each coast, and it'll be a very festive Christmas day. Ham, Cornish hens.
Really? So if they're coming from each coast, is it clear that they just said, whichever way, as far as I can go, I got to go?
Well, Mom's in the middle, so
Okay.
that's the real destination along with Dad.
Okay.
Dad just so happens to live 30 miles down the road from Mom. So.
Well, we talked about vacation. I pointed to my daughters when we were on vacation in Maui, and I said, so figure out where here you want to live. Because you're moving here. Because your mother and I want to visit here. So don't be picking like Texarkana.
No,
Maui is where you're going to find employment.
Yeah, they live in San Francisco and New York, so those are 2 pretty good destinations.
Not bad. You got pretty good spots to go.
Yep.
All right, Danny. We've talked a lot of Chiefs here today. I want to start with the Kansas Jayhawks with you. And they lose to Villanova. Look, going on the road to Nova, that's a tough game, and there's no shame in the loss. But I think what we see in this game where Villanova was 10 of 41 from 3
right.
and KU was 4 of 13 is the modern game versus a game that I don't know that you can win with anymore. I think it is, it's now been, and listen, winning a championship in college basketball is hard. But it has now been 11 years, going to be 12 years as the calendar flips, since they won a championship. And I think that there is a fundamental problem in how this team is put together.
Well, just mathematics, simple mathematics shows you how difficult it is to win a game if the other team's getting threes and you're getting twos.
Well, I mentioned when we did the Central Bank of the Midwest pregame show together on Sunday that Doug Tucker, great writer for many years at the AP, had sent me a story from the Wall Street Journal about how math and stats and numbers had changed the game. And there was one of the lines in it was, and it took 60 years for basketball to figure out that a three-pointer is worth 50% more than a two-pointer. They're like, literally the basketball revolution has just come from finally acknowledging the greater reward of hitting a three.
Right, and 33% shooting sounds horrendous, but it's the equivalent of 50% shooting from two-point range.
Don't you think people would say that and hear it and then breeze by it like, yeah, that's cute, but not really embrace it?
Right. And basketball coaches who don't want to totally embrace the three-point shot will tell you there's other things that are, good byproducts of playing basketball where you're going for two-pointers. You're more likely to get fouled, things like that. But still, look, the thing that to me was troubling about this loss was the amount of points Kansas scored and the fact that they're playing against a team that had a dreadful night by their standards from three-point range, and you can give yourself credit, but I'm not going to try to go out there and say that 41 contested three-pointers were out there. Kansas is pretty good this season against three-point shooting, but that's just a bad night. I mean, even if you played good defense against three-pointer.
You know what? I'll go the other way, and I'll give Kansas all credit for holding them to under 25%. Because then they were 12 of 23 inside the arc, or 12 of 22. 12 of 23, I think, inside the arc. So they shot better than 50% inside the arc, when Villanova went in there. And so even if you give them credit for doing that, it wasn't a success.
No, it wasn't, and it's still 10 threes, no matter what. And you were outscored by 21 points from the three-point line, and that's tough to overcome. I think that Kansas has enough that they're going to be a really good team. But to your point, when you have to win 6 games to win a championship, is there the one where the other team just has such a gigantic difference from three-point range? Kansas probably just needs to. They don't have to go out and be Villanova and shoot 30 to 40 three-pointers a game. I just don't think that's in Bill Self's DNA, and he's not going to do it. And the roster you have somewhat dictates certain things as well. You got a player who's hitting 80% from the field. You want to use him. So it's not quite as cut and dried as, they just got to play 4 guards and embrace the modern game. But they are creating challenges for themselves if they're going to average shooting 10 to 15 three-point shots a game. So no question about it.
What does Bill Self have to do differently?
Well, I think that the teams at the very top of college basketball have got to embrace maybe taking players with slightly less athleticism if they can shoot the ball. You're
right.
Take one less guy, okay? You got 4. Basically, all the best players right now are 4 men, sort of. They're
NBA threes that play the 4 in college.
Yeah, and that's the best athletes. That's the people are going to be the ones who are the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players because they're freakishly athletic. And at this point in their career, they're playing against lesser competition, so it even exacerbates their strengths more than it will be as time goes on in their careers. Find shooters. Maybe just take one of those slots that you would have normally recruited an uber athlete or tried to get 4 of the top 10 players and just find the best shooter.
Or how about
even if he's the 50th rated player and you don't feel like he might be able to guard, the player's just too important. It's just too important to have a deadly shooter.
How about instead of the guy that can give you a 360 windmill dunk, get you the guy who's the same height who can also shoot a 3.
Right.
All he can do is dunk it straight on, but he can shoot you a 3. right? Like, I think you've got to, and I think part of it is with Bill Self, if I were to critique him, and I know he's listening and really wants to hear our critique of him and values this critique immensely, he needs to focus more on offense, right? Like, when we go back to it, they love the long athlete that can close out, be long, get their arms up, and on defense, there's no doubt. You coach any basketball, you have that kid that's like, well, this is my glove, right? I'll throw this person on them, and we take them out, and that's great. But now the offenses are able to score and get more rewarded, and you've got to score with them. For so many years, they were 1 or 2 or 3 in field goal percentage defense, right? And it's netted them one championship.
Right.
And I think, it's okay to be 18th or 20th. If you bump up your 3-point success, right? Maybe give up a few more points to score a few more points. And I think to do that, you need to look at, not just, we think of shooters, okay, let's go get a 6'3", J.J. Redick immediately.
Right.
But what I see are guys that are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8", that also can shoot. And, he seems to have embraced, because even though they'll start Udoka and McCormick, they quickly go to a 4-out. He has no hesitation to do that, but he's going to 4-out with guys that can't score.
Well,
not from perimeter.
Probably the greatest example of a player that coaches love that maybe shouldn't be valued as much in the modern game is Marcus Garrett. Now, it's nice to have a great defender who's limited offensively, maybe as a seventh man or something, but to have him be your favorite, I think, is a reflection of an older time, a different day. But Bill Self also has in his not-so-distant memory bank, 2012 is getting to be a long time ago, but still, that team went to the championship game purely based on defense. They were very limited offensively. So within a reasonable amount of time in his head, you can do that. And
don't you think in the last, what'll be now 8 years since that was 12, we'll play for the 20 championship coming up. In 8 years that the game has jumped as far in 8 years as it did from at least 12 to 92.
I agree with that.
And yes. Somewhere in there, it started speeding down a highway. That is even a long time ago.
And maybe the only thing that can slow it a little bit is the fact that they moved the line, which they probably needed to do. It was too easy a shot before, and maybe this will, we'll have to see what the numbers are. Many guys who can really shoot, I don't think that distance matters at all. What you're doing is taking away the mediocre shooter who was shooting that shot before, and so that may change the dynamics a little bit back the other way, that distance. But we'll have to wait and see how the mathematics works. Players may have adjusted enough that when they're growing up, they shoot that shot from beyond that line anyway.
One of the things I like to do to kind of get an idea of where I think the mindsets are of coaches is to look ahead to how they're recruiting. Right, go say, okay. So who do they have offered? Right, you can always get a look at who the scholarships are, but who have they offered to? And if you look at where KU is now offering scholarships, if you look down the road as to next year's class, combo guards. I do think combo guards and then wing shooters are where you're going to win. And I do think Bill Self is making a concentrated effort to try to get back to having Frank Mason and Devontae Graham on the floor together. I think if you look at his classes, I'll look at the 20 offers, right, for this class. Offers. He offered up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 point guards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 shooting guards, and then he offered up 2, 4, 6, 7 combo guards. And I think he gets that part of the equation.
Well, he's always liked combination. They've had combination guards for quite a long time. They haven't. When's the last time they really had what you'd call a pure point guard?
Now,
which was an old timey.
Now,
well, no.
You don't think Dotson's a pure point guard?
No. I don't think he's a very.
I think he shoots because he has to.
I think he's a small shooting guard. I don't think he has any of the attributes of a pure point guard.
Well, if you're talking about Aaron Miles, that guy doesn't exist. That guy doesn't come out of high school anymore. If that's what you're getting at, a guy who can't really score.
No, but
and doesn't want to do anything.
Dotson isn't a good passer.
I think he penetrates in dishes.
I think he penetrates to score. I disagree. And I don't think he dishes very...
I think he penetrates the score because he has to.
No, I think he does that because he wants to.
Okay.
I think that's his mentality.
I'll look at it closer.
And I do think...
I value your opinion.
And I do think that one of the things that came out of the game, and Jesse Newell's a writer I very much respect, and if he decides that his focus after the game is to write an article about Devon Dotson's leadership skills, I don't think that just comes out of thin air. And that was what his game story pretty much focused on, the fact that Dotson came back to improve his leadership, which by rote means that they didn't think he was a very good leader before. And in the game against Villanova, after the game, he sort of threw shade on other players, especially for the game-winning basket, three-pointer. And the tenor of the article was that maybe he still needs to clean up his leadership skills as a point guard and the leader of the team. That comes from somewhere. To me,
I agree.
I mean, that usually somebody who is that good a reporter doesn't just say, "You know what? I think this is true," and I'm going to write it.
Right. I agree.
So that may be a problem, especially on a team that just went out and scored 55 points in an important game. So, hey, they're going to be a really good team. This is nitpicking, but what your point is, and what your point is a good point, is that programs like Kansas,
they're measured by Final Fours.
They're measured by Final Fours and
national
national titles. That period. All those conference titles were nice, and it was an incredible accomplishment.
And those count as well.
But even Kansas fans, if there had been 1 year in the middle of that where they didn't win, they really wouldn't have cared about it much at all. I mean, it was the fact that it was this...
It became a thing.
Historic streak. But they would have, I think, gladly in the end traded that streak for a couple more Final Fours. I don't think there's much doubt about that at all. And whether that is going to be a situation where they can play this way and make it, or Bill Self might want to adjust, or, as I said, maybe the three-point shooting percentages go down because of the distance. All those things are in the mix. But games like that do highlight the fact that the other team, even on a bad shooting night for them, whether you caused it or not, and you can decide on your own on that, still outscored you by 21 points from three-point range because of the volume of three-point shots they put up. And
I think it's something that Kansas has to get better at. I mean, it's not changing. And they've got quality big men, and they want to pound it in, and they do pound it in. And, this was not as good a Villanova team as beat them in the Final Four, that had not as good a day. I mean, it's not as good a Kansas team either, right? I get that, right? At least right now. They still won.
Right.
They still won, and that needs to be embraced by Bill Self and his coaching staff, and when they get out on the trails, what they're recruiting, and they've got to build the team differently. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk some Chiefs football. Danny Clinkscale's with us. He's brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing. You can call them today at 913-257-5426. Look them up online at eastonroofing.com. Easton Roofing, integrity matters.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker, the president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you worked for other companies in the construction industry. What inspired you to start your own company in Easton Roofing?
Well, Danny, when you are working for somebody else, you oftentimes don't get to see the project through from beginning to end, and you don't get the final control over the customer experience. And I wanted to build a place where people can come and get work done on their house and not have to worry about being treated the wrong way, and get a good customer service experience start to finish.
The company slogan is "Where Integrity Matters." Why is that so particularly important to you?
Well, for us, what that means is treating each other with respect at work, treating our clients with respect, and making the right choice, especially when no one's looking. So when you're presented all the time as a contractor with choices that have to be made, are you going to make more money on this if you cut a corner? And we just wanted to make a place and a slogan that said to our people and to whoever is our customer, we're not going to do that. We're going to make the right choice regardless of profit.
Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Among Alabama quarterbacks, who has the most career NFL passing yardage? I will tell you it is within 300 yards.
The top two. 1 and 2. Well, Namath would be the one that I think people would go to first. Ken Stabler's name would come up very quickly, unless I'm blowing by somebody.
It is one of those two guys.
Okay. Are they 1-2? Okay.
That's the order.
I'll take the Snake 1 and Namath 2.
Repeat the question.
Alabama quarterbacks, who has the most career NFL passing yardage?
They're within 300 yards, so if you
275.
I'm not sure what
I'm
calculation you're going
I'm just
through.
going to lean to Namath because he had a 4,000-yard year, and neither guy played forever in a day. So
can I tell you why I'll lean to Stabler? One, I've heard Curtis talk about Stabler being underrated, and I know he thinks Namath is grossly overrated. So I'm assuming this question will back up what are his stances. So he wants to point out that Namath is not even, while getting all ballyhooed, is not even the top Alabama passer in NFL history.
It is Ken Stabler.
Yes!
But the
know your opponent, Danny.
The genesis of the question is that Ken Stabler, now deceased, born on Christmas Day. So
that's right. Damn.
Born on Day tomorrow, one of two.
But you will use that as a jumping off point for just an interesting question.
Yes, I think
were he second, you would still do that.
Namath. Don't get me started.
Struggling.
Well, I'll say this.
I think he's
overall
in the Hall of Fame because of one pass, one play.
I'm not. I think it's one. I think it's one
play.
Comment.
Well, maybe, but I think it's one
I'm
play.
fine with that. I will add one season, being the first guy over 4,000 yards.
But he throws a 50-yard pass to Don Maynard to set him up for the winning touchdown in the AFL championship game. If that wind blows the ball to the other shoulder, that ball is incomplete. The Raiders win. Namath never wins a postseason game, and he's not in the Hall of Fame, to me.
That is true. People don't realize how they lost tons of games with him at quarterback. He threw more picks than touchdowns, right?
Right, yes.
By a large
margin. The factors that got him in were playing in New York, guaranteeing the win on a big upset, and bringing it home in a game that he barely threw the ball.
Well, there's a million reasons why he became, why they're there.
Gregarious.
I mean, it was, the big signing bonus, the first big bonus baby, New York, Broadway, his nickname,
New
York, everything. I mean, New York was a big
but he would have been a curiosity.
Without
the
Super Bowl, it wouldn't have.
Well, let me ask you this, because we've done some, and we'll do some more kind of like moments of the decade type thing. I read a thing: the 20 biggest trades in this past decade in Major League Baseball. 20 was James Shields to the Royals. I thought, wow, that's awesome. So I can't wait to see where Greinke for Lorenzo Cain, a All-Star Gold Glover, third in the MVP voting, and World Series MVP, Alcides Escobar, an ALCS MVP, a Gold Glover, and an All-Star, Jake Odorizzi, an All-Star, and a guy who's still a high-level pitcher, who then was part of said James Shields deal. Mm-hmm. That was number 20 on this list. And Jeremy Jeffress, who has been an all-star closer. I can't wait to see where the Greinke deal. Oh, by the way, the Greinke, 6-time All-Star, 6-time Gold Glover, 2-time Silver Slugger, and probably should have been a second Cy Young winner with 205 career wins, barreling towards the Hall of Fame. Well, it'll be great to see where that is. Not there. Numerous little Yankee, Red Sox, Blue Jay trades.
Yeah. Right.
Littered all over the place. But that one...
Big oversight.
That one was not there.
Clearly.
So the New York was Titanic. Yes. Just like the Cowboys was Titanic for Troy Aikman making the Hall of Fame. Because he might be the next worst guy in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. He did at least win 3. That's why I say Namath is worse. Aikman might be second.
Yeah. Namath, I think people just generally, well, not if they listen to your program, because it's often been brought up. He and Bill Russell, the two biggest whipping boys.
Basically, if you wear green and white, we think you suck.
They're just the two most overrated athletes in American professional sports history.
The most in their respective sport.
I know you're from New England, but I'm sorry. He was souped-up Dennis Rodman.
I wasn't a Celtics fan, so it doesn't. And he played on a
souped-up Dennis Rodman on an
team.
all-star team.
Right.
That's what the hell he was.
A stupendous roster at the time he played. But he was a good player. Let's not.
Yes, he was. I have no problem with him being a Hall of Famer. It's just when he's talked about being better than Wilt Chamberlain or being the best player alive.
But he made his teammates better because Wilt's 50 and 27 didn't make his team better.
And he also
62.
Had a lot of assists.
Yes,
Wilt.
So don't even. Yeah, that's one of our pet peeves.
Don't get me started.
You chowderhead. I don't need to hear it about that one. Bill Simmons, I get him in a room one day. I'm going to pummel him with facts. The Big Book of Basketball written. I guess he's written a second one. I'm going to have to go get. Marvelous read, but have a bucket ready for the vomit with where he ranks Bill Russell, like a 2 or 3 all time.
If Bill Russell
asinine.
was as good a player as he was an effector of change,
right,
off the court.
Social
change. He is a Hall of Famer. He's the he's in the top shelf all time of what he's done over
He did
his
stand
lifetime.
things, but he is a world class AH too. Like he's the he's not Mr. Gregarious.
Yeah.
He's Mr. Angry.
Oh, he was definitely Mr. Angry.
Granted,
I mean, he didn't
with a reason to be angry growing up.
A black athlete playing in Boston, I might be a little angry.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not saying I can't figure it out.
I know.
I'm just saying for the groundswell. I actually think part of the passion for pushing Bill Russell in Boston is guilt from Boston fans, racist Boston fans, who know how bad they treated African American players in their city.
Sure. I mean, he was playing for the Boston Celtics when the Boston Red Sox still didn't have a black player.
Yeah.
For like 5 years.
Yeah.
So that's where you can see the atmosphere that he was playing under. But that's a discussion for another day.
Danny Klinkskill is with us, brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, online at eastonroofing.com. Call 913-257-5426. Great folks at Easton Roofing. I highly recommend them. They've been on my roof, and any issues with my roof, which sadly I was only a few years in when I had issues on my roof. Thankfully, Easton Roofing was there. They do repairs. They'll be happy to help you out. And don't forget, if you're having roofing done right now, cold weather can be a big, big problem if you're using the wrong materials. And there are a lot of roofing companies that will. You're going to have problems in 2 or 3 years. And I think that was part of the problem with me at my house. Call Joe and his team at 913-257-5426. Danny, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Patriots did not fall to the Bills, although they gave it a yeoman's effort.
Bills did give it a yeoman's. And the Patriots, and I think that's part of the weekend's narrative, too. The Patriots looked a hell of a lot better on offense than they have most of the season. So I don't know if they're finding anything. The Bills have a very good defense. They had to do some things late. But the Chiefs just continue to look great.
So, right, when the Patriots hit their struggles, and what do we all say? They play in the AFC East.
Right.
It stinks. They also caught, I can't remember what the divisional, I'll bring up their records, what their divisional, out of division games, I guess I should say, were. The Bills got the same thing. So, like, here, let me say this. Beating up on the Bills, the Bills are injuries and a schedule smile better than they were 2 years ago when they were 9-7. Okay? They're a little bit better at quarterback. Probably, I don't know who was their quarterback 2 years ago when they made the playoffs.
Tyrod Taylor, maybe.
Was it Tyrod Taylor? Okay, so Allen is virtually Tyrod Taylor. So the measuring stick of how they're better, to me, is like funny, because how they're better is, how the Patriots are better is being measured against the Bills, who likewise have had the same soft schedule. Oh, they handle the Bills. Like, people have been like, well, we don't face the Bills. I'm like, why? The Bills are the 91 Chiefs, okay? They're not a threat. Josh Allen is not going to beat
I agree
anybody.
they're not great, but I do think they have a very good defense. And the Patriots,
I do too, but if you can't score, if you can't move the ball, then that defense wears down.
Oh, right. I'm just saying the Patriots look better on offense than they have in a long time, and against a good defense.
And what I'm saying is I think the Bills' defense is overrated, because it's statistics that are fattened up against playing the Redskins, the Dolphins twice, the Jets twice. The Cowboys and Eagles, they play the NFC East, which sucks. Play the whole NFC East. That whole division stinks. They played the Bengals as a like finisher. The schedule sucks. They're not as good defensively as everybody thinks. They fattened up on bad teams just like the Patriots did. So measuring those two against each other, they're both the benefactor of playing soft schedules. And the Bills have 10 wins and have a very good chance, by the way, of finishing with 10 wins. Who do they play the Jets at home. Hell, the Jets might beat them. And if they have 10 wins, they have one more win than they did 2 years ago when they were in, by the way, they're the team that fills out the schedule for the playoffs.
I don't think they're a great football team, but I just, with the eye test against what I still think is a good defense, no matter how they've been, I think they have good personnel. Hey, this is a low bar. The Patriots have looked like crap on offense, but They didn't capitalize either, but they had like 230 yards in the first half. They just looked better. That's all. But
I'm fine with the fact that they had a good day against a quality defense. I'm just saying I'm not ready. I do not fear the Patriots at all.
I still think that on their home field.
Sure.
Do I think I'm going to pick them? No, but to just dismiss them, I think is a fool's errand. Especially since
I'm not dismissing them. I don't fear them.
Oh, I totally agree with that. There's no reason to have any. The Patriots don't have a fear factor anymore.
Right. Go back to
they just don't.
What was it? 15 when the Chiefs went to New England. I feared them. The Chiefs were going to need to play +3 football to get out of New England with a win.
Right.
And they didn't even go to the Super Bowl that year. They lost to the Broncos? Was that who it was when it was all said and done? But you knew Alex Smith and the Chiefs were not going to go in there and win. All right? I don't have that feeling for anybody. I fear nobody. And that's not to say that the Chiefs can put 3 or now 4 wins in a row against playoff caliber teams, which is what you have to do to win a championship. We know the Ravens can. They've done it during the regular season. They rattled off like 5 or 6 wins in a row against playoff caliber teams. We know they can. I don't think the Patriots can. I think this Chiefs can. They have not done it, but I think they can. And so my question to you is, should they be playing? I think this discussion, I think they're going to play them all. The fact that Patrick Mahomes sat down with me today was a sign that he's going to play. Right. But should they be benching everybody? Because it doesn't really matter.
Oh, I don't think they should. I understand your point.
3 versus 4.
But I think it is important to get the 3
if you get to halftime, like I don't think. I think 2 versus 3. If you bench everybody and the Patriots lose to the Dolphins and you didn't give it an effort,
right?
Well, you're firing some people. But if you get to halftime and the Pats are up 31-0.
I would sit people at that point.
Does everybody sit down?
Well,
or is there,
the other aspect of it is probably the fact that the Chiefs are probably going to be way up also. So, but
what I'm saying is there a difference? Do you think there's any scenario that has the Chiefs winning, the Texans winning, the Chiefs beating the Pats, and the Texans beating the Ravens? And so the AFC Championship game comes home. So it's important to get that 3 versus 4. Do you think or is reality that there are 3 teams that can win this? The Ravens, the Pats, and the Chiefs. Or are the Texans? If the Texans are a threat, which I don't think they are, but if they are, then there's value to be in the 3 over the 4, and you should fight it out all the way to the end.
I think there is value in being the 3 over the 4. I do. I think there's a significant amount of value, especially if you can make the case that, okay, if you're the 4 and everything plays out the way it should, then you got to play Baltimore next. And so if you want to play more games, even if you're going to lose, because like you said, you don't fear anybody, so you feel like you can beat the Ravens. So when you play them shouldn't matter. But if you'd rather make the AFC Championship game and get another playoff win, then the 3 becomes that much more important. If you just say, well, we got to beat Baltimore anyway, so what difference does it make? We'll sit people.
The hair on fire panic fear that I don't quite get from Chiefs fans this weekend is Tennessee. I mean, everyone's like, "Oh my God, Tennessee!" I'm like, they have our number. No, they don't have.
Well, they do have the Chiefs' number.
Do they?
Yeah,
well, they have Andy Reid's. I think he's 1-7 against the Titans.
But they've played. I mean, they've played the Chiefs once with Patrick Mahomes and needed a 50-yard fumble return touchdown, 225 yards rushing, and a blocked field goal to win by 3 at home. They're coming here?
I'm with you. I agree with you, but I think it speaks to the fact that the fan base, while they love what they're seeing out of the defense, is not completely buying it.
True.
Well,
they're afraid they're going to watch Derrick Henry rush for
also,
300 yards.
What it looked like they had was the Steelers, and I don't think anybody has any fear of the Steelers. And I think
they beat us in
but now with no quarterback and everything.
But they didn't win the last one.
Right,
Mahomes smoked them last time,
true.
And no quarterback. Nobody has fear. But Tannehill's playing well. They've had Henry run all over him, and they've crapped in their pants against the Titans in the playoffs. And so the fans are not 100% secure against the Titans. I'm with you. Those games are not going to run out on the field and set the score at halftime, 21-0 Titans.
Right. It's like when handicappers talk about, Georgia Tech is 13-2 against Virginia over the last
Mike
15.
Vrabel's 1-0 against Andy Reid.
Who cares?
That's it.
Once
the players were in diapers.
It's about to give up 250 yards rushing.
I think there is a little bit. I'd give a little bit of that, like Georgia versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech walks on the field going, that school's better. So I think there is a little bit, but I'm with you. No, but I'm with you. 95% I'm with you. Once it like coach against coach, you got something.
Right.
Quarterback against quarterback, you got something. Okay? So I'm with you. I don't think it matters at all. If the Titans come in, no problem. Let's go. Let's dance. I'm not sweating this.
Right, but I just think
revenge.
I think the difference is stark enough from your first-round opponent that, yes, getting the 3 is important, but I think they're going to get it. So I guess if your direct question is, if everything looks like it's salted away, do you sit people in the second half? The answer to me is unmitigated yes. I think it would be a disaster.
The 3 salted away, but you're not doing it until the 3 salted away. You're not up 7 and sitting guys because the Pats are rolling. You're fighting for the 3.
Oh yeah, I'm fighting for the 3.
Okay,
I want to make sure that I get the 3. Yes, because it's just better. Should we fear any opponent? No. Do you have to beat these teams anyway to make the Super Bowl? Yes. But the road is easier if you're the 3. I think it's significantly easier.
I think, you hope that you're having a good day to start and you can get a big lead and get everybody sat down. But I'm with you. I do think there's value in the 3 because I think upsets happen. And really, if you believe in yourself, and it doesn't matter, you've got to assume success moving forward. You just need one upset game to get the AFC Championship game at your place because you're going to do your part.
Right. Yes.
So you just need one bad day from the Ravens.
Right, exactly. So it's better. Your first-round opponent's going to be weaker, and although people do fear the Titans, but I think the Texans are a good football team. So are they as good as the Chiefs? No, they're not. They're kind of Chiefs light, basically. In many areas, their quarterback's almost as good. Their receivers are maybe in total close to as good, maybe as good.
Right.
So they're very. I think defenses can be dangerous, but can be suspect both at this point in time. I think the two teams are quite similar, and the Chiefs are just a better version.
We'll take a break. Danny Clinkscale's with us. He's brought to you by Easton Roofing. It's Danny Unleashed. You can check out Danny's great work at DannyClinkscale.com or Easton Roofing. Also a sponsor there. Check out Easton Roofing online at EastonRoofing.com. Easton Roofing, integrity matters.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're here with Joe Spiker of Easton Roofing. And Joe, oftentimes people will wait to replace their roof until there is a weather event. What should they know about that?
Well, Danny, the important thing to remember is if you're going to turn in a claim to your insurance company, you want to make sure that you actually have damage on your home. If you turn in a claim to your insurance company and they send an insurance adjuster out, it's going to be a claim whether they give you $1 or $10,000. So it's important to make sure that you actually have damage on your home before you turn that claim in. And all you have to do is give us a call. We'll come out, take a look, and make sure there's real damage, and we'll tell you if there's not. Maybe it's just a small repair and it's not worth a claim. So it's always smart to get somebody you trust to make sure there's damage before you turn in a claim.
Quality advice and guidance from Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
Welcome back here to the program on Sports Radio 810 WHB, talking to Danny Clinkscale. Little Danny Unleashed for you here on Christmas Eve. Happy holidays if you're just joining us. Merry Christmas to you, and to all a good night later on today. Danny brought to you by our friends at Easton Roofing, commercial and residential roofing. Yes, they do both. Project manager on every site and happy to do repairs. Check out their incredible lineup of awards. Voted Best of Houses, Angie's List Super Service Award winner. Great reviews on Google. Check them out online at eastonroofing.com. Danny, Chiefs Chargers. You like the Chiefs? You think the Chargers mailed it in?
I think any football team in the last game of the year has a little fight at the start.
Right.
Because there's not 4 games remaining. This is it. Let's rally around. This is the last time I'm going to play with these guys, et cetera, et cetera. And probably Phillip Rivers a little motivated because he doesn't know what his future is. Maybe this is his last rodeo as a Charger. So any team, I think, has some fight at the start. It's up to the Chiefs to take that away because it will go away quickly. And I just think the Chargers haven't played good football all year. They're so mistake-prone. Their coach is clearly a lame duck. So you can take away that fight in a heartbeat. I mean, literally an opening touchdown drive. And, of course, I was right last week again. The Chiefs always win the coin toss.
Yes.
They always defer, which is what happened. So they can't score right off the bat, but they stop the Chargers. The Chiefs score. That right there is probably enough. Enough.
By the way, sidebar, they're talking about doing away with the coin toss, right? Because they can't get the freaking coin toss right.
They can't figure out the defer thing. It's
the officials, I mean, seriously. There's a couple of refs that live in town, and they always want to defend. I'm like, you're boobs, guilt by association. Yeah. Like, sorry, get the freaking coin toss right. It's not that difficult, for God's sake. But if it is, and you're going to change it, what should the rule be?
Home team, road team gets to choose.
No, I say home team picks. Because
either one's
you're going to get half either way.
Yeah.
So that further makes getting home field in the playoffs better. Andy Reid likes to defer, so he gets what he wants. You've earned the right to get what you want on starting with the ball, and you reward the home teams in the playoffs that way.
Sure.
Everybody likes the road team. Well, we want to try to balance it out. Why? Why earn the home? You're going to get 8 at home either way. So either way, it doesn't matter for the 16 regular season games.
I'm okay with that.
Then reward the better finisher.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do it, and then in the playoffs, better record. Screw this. One thing I do not want is to make the division winners go on the road to the wild cards. Win your division. Make winning the division mean something, and that's what we have. And I was thrilled when Adam Schefter said the NFL has no interest in changing that rule. But if you want, let the better record in the playoffs have it. Okay, you've earned that by being the better record in there.
What pops into my head is that regular season, it's fair. When these games are so important, flip a coin in the playoffs. Figure it out. I mean, to just... It's not
childish. They can't figure it out.
It's not that big a deal, actually. But I think that's almost too much.
Well, the Cowboy game where this came up again, they made a choice and planned a game plan around it. And then it's like late in the first half, and they're letting him know, by the way, this is how it's going to work. Well, that's crap.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
I totally. Well, the Cowboys kind of half-ass screwed it up too, so they can't, totally blame the officials.
Abner
I'm
Haynes
fine
did
with that.
this 60 years ago almost, and there was an issue, but they think they would have figured it out between then and now, but apparently...
Listen, in poker, they have a button they push out all in.
Right.
Right? If you're all in, they push it out there. There's no, it's on tape, there it is. Mm-hmm. The guys declared all in, they throw it over there. Oh, no, I'm not all in. Okay, let's have this discussion now before we play out the hand.
Right.
We throw the button, it's undeniable, right? In big tournaments, you get thrown a little thing, it says all in. So everybody thinks, I didn't know he was all in. Bull crap. The button's sitting right there. Here it is. Send them out with a receive, defer, flip it around. Not defer. Take it. Kick, return. It's literally that easy.
And whoever doesn't gets it in the second half. Not this whole thing where you have to state it correctly so that you are deferring and not just choosing the kick. That's the thing that screws me up.
If you really want,
wait a minute, because he said the wrong word. They don't get the ball in the second. What is happening here? It shouldn't be that difficult. Whoever kicks gets the ball in the second half.
Well, theoretically, back in the day, this is from the old ages.
Yeah.
The field conditions were such crap. There was no indoor stadiums. The wind would blow through. You might actually kick both times. The offenses sucked so bad. Scores were 9-6.
Right.
So with missed extra points to get you there. Mm-hmm. Right? And so it was like, no, the wind is so important. We've got to have the wind. But those days are gone.
Maybe you could, if you're looking to just simplify, do it sort of what Curtis was alluding to. Just say, you just get to say that you're going to kick or receive. And then it flips in the second half. Yeah. Period. And you can't. And you can't. I agree. Defer.
I'm just saying why they still do that. It's so from weird. When you played on a half the field was mud because they ran a parade or something through the stupid field. Soldier Field was tilted or something. The god awful field. But that doesn't happen anymore. Nope. These are pristine, manicured fields.
Mostly.
Yeah.
Estadio Azteca. Problem there.
Well, I heard somebody referencing the field conditions in Chicago the other day, and I was like, it's unacceptable. It's an NFL stadium. They play a little soccer on it, but that's, been long gone.
Why are you allowed to not dome every stadium from here on out? Put a freaking retractable roof on all of them.
Require it.
Yes.
I I'm with you.
Slide the field out. Real grass, if the grass is better,
well,
okay.
Cardinals
Real grass.
do it.
Vegas is going to do it too.
Yep.
Vegas is going to slide out. The technology exists. Why are we screwing around with this, you cheap SOBs? The NFLPA should go mandate it. Okay, you want the extra game? Here's our list. You give us all this. Grass fields everywhere. Every stadium that's built will be a retractable roof with grass fields that can slide out. Go get what you want.
Right, they have all the money in the world.
Yes, and they don't even pay for it. We do.
Right. For the most part.
And if you can't get it through on and you know who the only people who stand up and make you pay are the super big cities that are like, screw you, you're not leaving San Francisco. Pay for it yourself. And then you do pay for it yourself, and then you control all the dates.
Right.
Dallas, Jerry Jones largely paid for it all himself. He's not leaving Dallas, Texas. They might leave Kansas City, so we got to pay for it to be in the club. But we're going to pay for it. We're not going to lose the Chiefs.
Right.
All right, give me your score.
Oh, boy. Well, it's a hard score because, like we say, the Chiefs could be benching people, whatever, but I'm still going to say 31-13.
Oh, God, that's my score.
Oh, well, there you go.
There you go. We'll nail it. Danny, you nailed it, as you always do. Danny Clinkscale, brought to you by our friends at EastonRoofing.com. Check out all his great work at DannyClinkscale.com. And Merry Christmas. I celebrate Christmas, so I'll give you a Merry Christmas.
I celebrate Christmas as well.
Danny, and enjoy the time with your family, my friend.
It will be great. I'm very much looking forward to it. Thanks, Soren.
Absolutely. You bet.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.